There we go. Thanks, Faria. It is an introductory course in statistics. It gives you the basic tools that you need to move on and understand different issues in analytics and so on and so forth. It is a bit technical, but again, you get all the tools and anything that you need during the course. Statistics and programming start from, let's say, the beginning. And I don't remember if we managed to do it last year. I think we did it. No, we did it. We do some boot camps, some programming boot camps before the year starts. Do we have courses in ML AI? It depends on what you call ML and AI, right? I don't know how to distinguish this. We have the introductory course in analytics that talks about ML and AI, and Professor Senderovich is teaching a course in, he calls it machine learning. It's mostly a classification and regression techniques. But again, I need to repeat, we're not a computer science department. We're a multidisciplinary faculty, and we welcome all backgrounds. So we give everybody the necessary tools to move on and succeed in data science. And please don't forget that we have the keyword human-centered data science. So we talk a lot about the social aspects and income of data science approaches, who is affected, how it is affected, how do you turn your data into a more fair data set that you do your experiments. We have a course in ethics and values in data science that is becoming increasingly needed and popular, and so on and so forth. Yeah, it is glorified statistics. I'll use the keyword glorified. Fancy slash technical. It's whatever I do for the last 23 years. I came here to continue with my master's and PhD in '98. And since then, back then there was no, not even data mining, data analytics, machine learning. There was AI, the theoretical AI. But since then, I keep saying I'm doing glorified statistics. Throw any more questions you have in here. The day-to-day job tasks of graduates from this concentration. It's like being in school. Master program is, in my view, your life. You take 3 or 4 courses per semester, and you do your assignments and your projects. But I will stop answering the question here. Maybe Faria or Kelsey, they can give you more information since they are in it right now and they take any courses that are required. So maybe Faria can also jump in and say.
Yeah, sure. And Kelsey, if you want to jump in, feel free. Lakshya, I just want to ask a clarification question. Do you mean like people who already graduated or people who are currently in the program?
Yeah, people who graduated.
Okay.
Who graduated. That is a very open question. Like, it depends. Like, you solve data science problems, you solve data problems. Like, you can become a full stack data scientist, from the collection of data, cleaning the data, massaging the data, formatting the data, taking executive decisions on top of the data and the measures that it gives you. That is a very open-ended question. Data science is not a textbook term, in my view. You might see a lot of books and a lot of stuff, but if you come here and you take my class, you will see that I define it as being the term used by many people in many different ways. So basically, you open up a job board, a job discussion, or a job posting site, and you look at data science. There are as many definitions of it as there are job postings there, right? It varies. I cannot, it depends on your position. I do tell many times that a data scientist is like a philosopher. So what you do at the highest level is you ask why questions. Why is this graph like this? Why do you do it like that? Why do I use this technique? Why does the data look like this? Why do I get this result? And so on and so forth. So Kelsey, I see you became a moderator. Is that correct? It is correct. I see you're a moderator. Yeah. Congratulations. I can help answer your question. Yeah, UTM-based student. I would say the same, Kevin. It depends on what data analyst means. It can mean many, many things, and what technical background means. It can mean many, many things. But again, given that we're multidisciplinary and we have a lot of courses, we are increasingly adding more courses actually in values, privacy, policy. Yes, I would. My suggestion to you, if you have all the technical background and the data analyst covers what you need as a data scientist, I would also highly recommend to put this concentration together with another one, maybe culture and technology, or SIPs that studies privacy policy and things like that. Welcome to those of you who are joining. If you have any questions, again, please throw them in here.
Hi, Professor. This is Kevin. I figured it would just be easier if I unmute myself and speak. I have another question. I was wondering about the thesis.
Yeah.
Is that an opportunity for someone who's planning to do this part-time?
About the part-time thing, I don't remember having any restriction over that. I would have to check. You would have to check with Andrea about,
Okay.
about the part-time thing. I know that it is in general a little bit of an obstacle, right? because
Yep.
by the time it's like logistics and practicality. So you start doing research in something that in a year and a half changes, for example, right? So there are like there's my personal recommendation, and then there are the you know the logistics if this is allowed, basically, that I don't remember right now, to be honest. I haven't had students who are part-time and doing physics.
Okay, that helps. Thank you.
No problem. Uh, 1 second. Yep. Thank you, Fire. They are in course. The data set is part of your project. It depends. I give you many sources of data. So this is part of your own decision. Yes, there are part-time students. I didn't mean to turn you off about the thesis and the part-time. It's just that I don't know if it's allowed at this point. I don't know if Andrea is in here. I saw her jumping in. If she jumps in again, we'll ask her. It's just that if you're already part-time, like you more or less double your time in everything, doing, especially in data science, a thesis, a master's thesis over like a couple of years, part of the thesis is to do literature review, to cover other techniques, baseline techniques. So sometimes within a year and a half, these baseline techniques change. It's just a matter of, so you would have to redo stuff. You see what I mean? Like it's a master's thesis, something new. Yep. It's not that they get outdated. It's that they it's going so fast that you get new ones. Yep. Five. We counted 1, 2, 3, 4. It's 5, 6. Sorry, with the workshops, 6. You can find them here. That's what I was looking at right now. Let's see if there's some other information. It is allowed, Kevin. 1 second. Information about the thesis option is here. And if you go to eligibility, it says that part-time MI students may enroll in the thesis option only after the successful completion of 8 half-credit courses. So there's nothing to prevent you from doing.
I just have a question, Professor. So,
Yeah.
what do you think separates this concentration from the ISD concentration?
Oh, the ISD is mostly design stuff. It's mostly how do you, all the steps from the collection of requirements all the way to coming up with the designs. So here we're dealing with the data. So this is a more data focused concentration.
Okay, so that concentration is more like how do we make the framework for what data scientists do?
Yeah, or others. Yes.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I have another question. This is Kevin again. I have another question on the thesis. I was looking at the website link that you provided, and it says that you have to complete 8 half-credit courses. So does that mean that you can only start in your second year?
Yep, exactly.
Oh, okay. And part-time, this would be 3 years, correct?
You see above, in the prerequisites, there are some course requirements to take with A minus and above, right?
Right.
This is one of the reasons. Like, you can't come in and start the thesis right away.
Got it.
Like, I believe you cannot do that in any department. I couldn't do it in the department where I did my master's.
Yep, that makes sense. Thank you.
No problem.
Also, another question, the part-time program would be 3 years long?
The part, I believe it's 3 years long. Yeah.
Okay, and a follow-up question then, is there any way to reduce that 3-year duration?
That you have to ask Andrea.
Okay, that would be for Andrea.
These
Okay,
logistic questions you have to ask Andrea.
got it.
I
Thank
don't
you.
know. Yeah. There are students who started full time and then they switched to part time. Ah, I love being in class. So I don't. I, I mean, every moment I take it as a different moment. That's a very good question. I never think about it because, to be honest with you, right now I'm in a depressive mode, not being able to go in class. It's hard in many different ways, and the reason why I do what I do is not to be called a professor, but mostly to teach, convey knowledge, and love, you know, having the contact and the interaction and the questions and seeing different people all the time. My personality is such that I want to be meeting new people, interesting people. Um, every time I do it with all my heart, and I try to give my best to pass the knowledge. I like this winter, like after Christmas, I'm gonna be teaching a brand new course on customer journey analytics, which I'm looking forward to because it's closely related to my research. Um, I have to like I am like Faria will tell you that. I mean, I'm not in class this year, but I am let's say, known for telling stories, my experiences from real life and stuff like that. So one of the things that happens 90% of the times when I start a data analytics class is that during the first class, it's raining outside, right? So this is like a couple of times it hasn't rained and it's very notable. So it is raining. It is a rainy day. Now, what this means for the class, I don't know. What else? Another time, like the first time that I taught the ISD, in the ISD concentration, because HCDS didn't used to be there, what happened is I taught a lot of design. I taught a lot of like elements of design, right? Boxes and arrows, basically. And I had students from health informatics, and they were complaining. They were complaining, why do we do this? And where is this needed? And how is this needed? And I was telling them, do you want to build a house without the involvement of an architect and a structural engineer? If you would like to build, you can build a house without all that. But then when you start having problems, it's going to be a disaster. So for the same reason that this is happening with our house, we want to do it with software. And what happened is I kept in touch with this group of people, and after they finished and they graduated and they had something like a co-op mandatory, they all came back to me and they said, let's go out for a beer. We have to tell you something very important. And I said, what is this important? And you have to tell me. Like 7 or 80% of us, they were like 30, 40 people. When we were being interviewed in our positions, they asked us about design. What do we know about the entity relationship diagram, about DFDs, about things that we were doing in class? So we felt like buying you a beer because you insisted and you kept up and you persevered telling us that this is useful. So I still keep in touch with these guys because of what happened as well back then. So this is not like, you know, the most interesting thing, but these are stories that happen. But if you guys come, I do really want to be in class next year. This is like everybody's writing, this is killing us. And you don't know what's the best. I mean, at least for me, you want synchronous, you want asynchronous, half of the class is like one, the other half like the other, so you don't know. So let me go through some that was the first thing that you heard about me, saying stories. Thanks, Faya. I just want to ask, how worthy would the SAS certificate be when it comes to admission, since it is popular among some of my friends who's also applying to MI? Not really. I'm just saying it bluntly. It's very useful, very, very useful, but I'm not sure if it's going to make any difference in your admission. Yeah, my research is in customer journey analytics. So I do apply process mining or machine learning techniques on customer journeys. This is what I recently do for my research. I know it's pretty hot out there. Anything else? So where are you guys coming from? One of your colleagues is, yeah, oh, it's up to you, whatever you want. Yes, there are opportunities. Many of us have guest lectures. We sometimes have, FARI, I think there is a student either organized or yearly kind of workshop or a day where industry comes into the high school and you get introduced, they get introduced, and then there are networking opportunities, job placement opportunities, and things like that. UTSC. Oh, somebody joined. Hi, Lakshya. You are in India, right? What time is it there?
It's about 1 in the morning.
1 in the morning. Thanks for being there.
Yeah.
It is a weird year as well because I have a lot of students who are in India, in China, in Malaysia, in Israel. I don't have anybody in Europe yet, but yeah, it's a bit crazy, eh? So which city are you in?
I'm currently in my hometown, Jaipur. I don't know if you have heard of it. It's from
I haven't heard
Rajasthan.
of
It's
it.
the sandy part of India,
Nice,
the camels and the forts.
nice. So are you over 30 degrees Celsius?
Uh, it it gets pretty extreme. Like in the summers, it gets up to 40 to 43, and in the winters, it can go to like 1 or 2 degrees Celsius.
Yeah. Yeah. Anybody else? Kevin, are you in Canada?
Yep, I'm here in Toronto. I actually
Toronto.
live in Etobicoke.
Etobicoke, okay. I am downtown Toronto,
Oh, nice.
where we surprisingly have like 7 degrees Celsius. I'm actually
Yeah.
planning to go outside tomorrow and play tennis outside because inside we're not allowed to do anything. Anybody else? I see 6, 7 people there. Andre, Rachel, Sydney, Junxiang. Anybody from far away? Vaughn. A little bit colder than downtown Toronto. Vaughan is like 10 minutes north of Toronto. Scarborough, 10 minutes east of Toronto. You're surrounding me. Kelsey and Faria, you're around here, right?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of things have changed this year. How are things in India?
Online academics wise?
On COVID.
On COVID. Okay. So I'm like we have a lot of people here, right? So I don't know. It's like not a lot of people uh are going into the serious condition. Like there are like considering only the numbers, like there are definitely more, but it's a lesser percentage if we compare to other countries in the world. So I don't know if it's about, some people say it's about the immunity, some people say it's about the weather and all, but it
Yeah.
varies from state to state. But we do have good measures in place.
Let me answer some questions. So Kelsey is in the long and lost region of Brampton. It is kind of like an hour, I'm telling everybody, northwest of Ontario. I don't know what XD is. Would HCDS be more suitable for the folks who will actually be performing the analysis versus an individual who manages I see. Who manages teams performing the analysis? Both. So what I like to say for everyone who's coming to the iSchool, not only the HCDS, but even within the concentrations, this is happening because we have a wide variety of backgrounds as faculty. You are sitting in the middle of the table and you can turn around and you can talk to all the stakeholders involved in the project. You can talk to the business person, to the programmer, to the COO, to the CEO, to the marketing person, to any individual. You can play around with your role. It depends. In the past, each professor used to have like a number of students as advisees. We don't have that anymore. And I had a lot of students who were coming to my office and they were telling me, oh, Pericles, if I take one library course and if I take one SIPS course, then I will be more employable. And my answer, straightforward answer, would be no. Nobody is going to hire you or going to make you better, or this course is not going to make you a better candidate to find something in libraries just because you took one course. So there is a reason why we have concentrations. There is a reason why we have required courses in concentrations. We want you to build a niche. We want you to take whatever background and if you want skill you already have and evolve it. And again, we're flexible, right? You want to do something more practical, you can take a number of courses that help you do that. You also want to do, we're not doing really the management aspect except for project management. We don't have other courses. That is something that a business school would do. So we're not really doing that, at least yet. But you can cover any role. And again, what I'd like to point out is that you come into a master's program, you want to, some people want to change a bit, some people want to involve whatever they already know, right? And again, straightforwardly, you're not going to become a computer scientist if you are not a computer scientist right now, right? So this is not a computer science program, okay? But you can cover a wide variety of backgrounds. So both of them that you mentioned, Andre, like performing analysis and manage the teams, is part of the stuff that some graduates have done. And I'm saying some graduates, so this concentration, we don't yet have a lot of data in the faculty because we started it last year. The concentration simply was rolled out last September. So it has to roll for a year or two to start collecting data and see what is happening. I don't believe we have graduates yet. Faya, you are the first cohort?
Yes, our cohort will be the first graduates, but I think the cohort, like last year, they were able to get the HCDS designation if they finished a certain number of courses. If they were in ISD, I think there was something like that.
Yeah, it was a mixed up year where some people could have taken HCDS as some sort of an option in their second year. We had this complication that we don't have anymore. And back to the career fairs and all that stuff, we have a ton of events happening. And we have the iSkill workshops where we have external people coming in and teaching different things, including some applications of machine learning in industry and in other places. Your concentration does not show up. Faya, can you double confirm that? So your concentration doesn't show up. You show it in your CV and in your transcripts.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Or
It
concentrate
shows up in a transcript, but not your degree, like not your official degree.
When I came here and I got my master's, the diploma that I will get, it was saying a master's in arts and science. And I said, did I do arts? Like, how did it come like that? A master's in arts and science. So I get it from the faculty. So it doesn't follow you on your degree. Let's say written. It follows you through your transcripts and who you basically are. I mean, you can go and you can find a job anywhere, but you're not going to be good at it, right? Anything else? What do you mean full-time roles that the part-time students have in jobs?
Yes,
When
in
they find a job afterwards?
I think you mentioned that there are students currently enrolled in this concentration. I don't know if they're doing it part-time or not, but if they are, I was just curious to know what are they doing
What are they doing?
online to fire.
What are
Yep,
they doing in their full-time jobs?
in their
I did
full-time job. Yep.
full-time studies, I thought. I have students working for a data analytics company. I have students working for the government. I have a student who's working for the, I forget now, companies that is behind air miles. She is an analyst. Um, I have so a lot of the part-time students um, are coming into the evening classes as well, and they come from. I had the students working for TELUS, for Bell. A lot of students work at the university as U of T employees, and they take the masters as part-time. It's anything. Here, Faria says the government. Yeah, currently works for the government. I have two students that were in class, and I know them because I wrote a letter of recommendation. One of them, as I said, working for Air Miles, and the other one was working for I believe it was a hospital. I have to say that this year, like this situation, has helped part-time students in general because of the online. One of the obstacles that part-time students or students who work had used to be commuting, believe it or not. And I dare to say that, I mean, there's a lot of them who, they don't have the burden of commuting, so they can accomplish a little bit more than before. This is like an observation that I see. I don't know if it's true or if it's not. This has nothing to say with my preference. My preference is in class, 1000%. No question about it. Apart from some logistical things, like part-time students are not in any disadvantage than full-time students. You have to look into the fee schedule. You have to look into some admin stuff. It's a very busy weekend over here. My kids are playing a new.
Oh, did we lose the professor?
I guess.
Am I still there? Did I come back?
Yeah, you're back.
I'm back, sorry. Yeah, I was just saying that I have two boys. They're 14-year-olds, and they are with me this weekend. So what they're doing is just like mass shootings online in a new game with some of their friends. So I just asked them to free up some of the bandwidth.
What is the grading evaluation criteria like for, let's say, your course? I know it depends from instructor to instructor, but typically,
I have a midterm and a final. And
evaluation throughout the sem, throughout the course.
yeah, I have a midterm and a final, and I have a project that is split in two parts: a project proposal and a final presentation. So Faria probably knows about all the other courses better than I do. Other people have different requirements.
Yeah, most of the courses I've taken, they've been mostly assignment based, except for the Python course and Professor Andrito's course, and I believe statistics as well. There's exams in those courses, but most of them have been assignment based.
Yeah, that answers my question. Thank you.
So in regards to Johnny's question, like as a student, I understand the human-centered aspect to be that focus on ethics, that this concentration really places a big kind of weight on, but maybe Professor Andritsos, you can speak a bit more about that.
We have so we all try to put a human element in our courses, right? So I deal, for example, in how I mean, maybe this year not so much yet, but the how do you train? There's a lot of criticism behind algorithms that they say, oh, they train it toward one or toward another, direction. So we are discussing. We're not in class to discuss it extensively. How that might affect the data, but it's when the students do experiments, they find it obvious how changing parameters in the algorithms themselves, how do they change the results, and how can the results become lopsided toward one side or the other. We have a second year mandatory course that we call it the human values in data science, or values in data science, in which we extensively look at what are the ethical issues behind the algorithms, behind the technology of machine learning and data science, right? And how mathematically mature do you have to be ready for this program, Faria?
To be quite honest, I came from a non-technical background, so the courses that are here, they prepare you pretty well. The materials and the assignments, they help you to digest the material a lot. But I will say that if you're coming in from a non-technical background, it is better to have some exposure, especially to Python, because that one course is very heavy. And I'm just saying this from personal experience and from like being through that course. I would recommend that you do just get some understanding or some exposure to Python before taking the coding course. But in terms of math, the statistics course and a lot of the other courses that go into the data analytics algorithms, they talk, like the professors do a pretty good job of explaining the intuition behind it. And so you don't need to be very mature in math. It helps, but it's not like a requirement for you to do good.
Thanks, fine. That's what it is. We give all the necessary background. Yes, there are students with some technical background.
Yeah, I find many of my peers do have a technical background, and many of them do majority. Majority. No, I don't.
No,
That
definitely
would
not.
not be the case. No, no. A lot of people who joined the HCDS concentration did, like the people who are technical did so to understand that more of the human-centered aspect, but I wouldn't say it's a majority.
We were talking about my sons who are eating up some of my bandwidth, and I disappear because they're playing some new video games online. This is unfortunately not the concentration to discuss video games right now, although some students and some groups in my data analytics class, they have taken video game data to see and predict different stuff, like what type of game it is, what the genre of the game, and the ratings, and so on and so forth. There are definitely a ton of gamers in the classes and in the high school. And yeah. Anything else? We have about 15 minutes to go. Really? I'm glad that I hope they help you answer any of your questions, right? Because it's important. Again, we give all necessary background, mostly discuss the intuition. We try to put more and more a human aspect into our courses, including the concentrated course on human like values in data science. We hired a new professor who's starting in January, and he's even more focused on the human aspects in data science. So he's actually the author of an upcoming book titled Human-Centered Data Science. It's probably the first textbook in the area. So he's joining in January. We have another open position. It's a new place. It's a new data science. It's a new concentration, the one in data science. So we will be adding more elective courses. We will be adding more technical courses. We're doing our best. There's a lot of things to consider in the background, right? Like putting forward a new program is not happening the next morning. Finding all the resources and the people to come and get grouped together and teach the courses is not the easiest. There's budget to be approved. There's a lot of things behind it, but it is becoming extremely popular. I think UXD is number one, and then it's us. I forget now. I probably heard the numbers yesterday, but I forget who is first and who is second. And a lot of people take HCDS together with ISD or HCDS together with UXD. Oh, it's not the same at all. You can have the co-op, but over there they have the placement, which is a completely like it's more than half of their study. So we are not a computer science department. So the MSc is between statistics and computer science. So it's more of the focus is more on the stats, the math, and the computer science. So they assume a ton of things that we don't assume. The human aspect is you can as I was saying at the very beginning of this session, there are as many definitions of data science as there are job descriptions. So you can be an executive member of a startup, of the government, you can be in the data science team, either as a person who executes, who does stuff, like let's say down at the lower levels, programmer, engineer, or you can manage teams that perform data science projects. It depends on your additional background, right? So when you come in here, you are doing a master's and you are trying to figure out where is your niche. And according to all that, you fulfill different roles in different places. We had people joining the analytics teams at RBC, at Air Canada. I was saying before that I have students who work for the company that looks at the air miles cards. Startups, a lot of them after graduation, and so on and so forth. Yes, there are courses that use R. It's used in statistics and in social media analytics. I use the Microsoft Azure, but for many of us, like programming, we're doing it with Python. In my class, I can change the tool next year. I don't care about the tool that is being used. So we do teach the principles behind the techniques that are common everywhere. So yes, there is R, there is no SAS, there is Python, there is MS Azure. U of T is Microsoft compatible, so we use quite a bit of Microsoft tools. No problem. No problem, John. That's exactly what I teach. The one that doesn't require any programming background, the one that is where you're going into the panels and you bring in the blades, the modules, and you do yourself. Like, you do yourself. I mean, you don't need programming. You press the play button and you run the workflow. 2190. It's the data analytics course. It has a code 2190. Yes. That is the course that started everything. Once upon a time, the previous dean in 2012 wanted me to teach a brand new course that existed with a code, but it was being inactive for many years, and it was called to Introduction to Information Systems. So I resisted, and I said, I don't want to teach a new course. And he insisted on me teaching a brand new course, and it will be helpful for me, and da. So I said, okay, give me that course. I'll wake the course up, I'll reactivate it, but I will do anything I want. And he said, okay. That was in 2013. So I took that course, Introduction to Information Systems, and it was the first Python course that we started teaching. And at the same time, I told him I want to teach a workshop on my research, which is data analytics. And he said, good, big data is coming up. It is there. So I taught a workshop. A workshop is a course that we teach not in 12 weeks, but in 6 weeks. So it's half of half credits. So it's 0.25 credits. So I started teaching analytics as a workshop. And then we made a deal with the students because it didn't work for anyone. Like 6 weeks, it's not enough to learn the basics and to put your hands into any of the tools. So during the evaluation and my personal report, I wanted this course to become a full course. And then you had the birth of a brand new Python course that turned into Python for data science, and this one, the INF 2190. It got a new code, and it became a required course, and right now it has 3 sections. So I teach 2 sections in the fall and 1 section in the winter, which is pretty awesome. Oh, it's what I love doing. I love teaching. So, and I don't want to stay in a, stagnant situation where, okay, we have the course is being taught and everybody's happy. No, because it used to be 2013. We are in 2020, soon to 2021, and data is oil right now. Data is definitely oil. Weekends, no, but evenings, yes. My course is in the evening, yes. I have a morning session and an evening session when I'm in class. And the evening sessions are 6:30 to 9:30 p.m. It is the class, as I say, full of odors because everybody is at dinner time. So during the break, everybody brings in food. So you get any kind of smell that you want, which I love. Then I go home and I'm hungry. When we're applying, so we tailor our application for the concentration. You are being asked which concentration you want, right, Faria? When you're applying, you are asked which concentration you want to be in, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah.
But that's also something maybe you can just confirm with Andrea because maybe things changed. But when I applied, they did ask which concentration.
No, you are being asked which concentration or concentrations, but I need to point out that we're flexible. As soon and as long as you decide and you discover early on that you want to change, because if you are in concentration A and you want to jump in concentration B, in order to graduate with concentration B, you need to fulfill the requirements of the new concentration, right? So we won't let you graduate without having a major concentration from which you've taken all the required courses. Yeah, I just said it's oil. Not information, but data. It's oil. It's whoever has the proper tools to understand all aspects of data is going to win. And again, I'm a very technical person, but I have started appreciating more and more. Actually, not I have started. I appreciate more and more also the human and the ethical aspect of that. Right. The same thing that oil changed our lives. Data is changing our lives, and we want to change our lives in a good way. We don't want to discriminate people. We don't want to put the wrong labels on people. We don't want to do harm to people. We want to use information analytics to improve our lives, right? And I'm also the advocate of those who say, yes, there is many times some negative impact. There are issues from the human aspect, the bias, etc., but never forget that medicine has improved, right? So we can cure many diseases. We can land planes. I was actually in a talk, and maybe I'll finish with that. I was actually in a talk last year about the stress that AI is bringing us. And there was a professor who is in the faculty, Brian Cantwell Smith, and he said the same. Although it is not analytics and it's not AI, he said, have you ever landed in LA or in London, England, around 5 or 6 a.m. in spring? It's foggy. So do you want a human to land your plane, or do you want the machine to realize, understand, and land your plane? So there are applications of all that that we would like the machine to do. What do you like to see in prospective students? A lot of enthusiasm, interaction, creativity. I want to see what's the nicest thing about my courses that you asked me before. I want to see my students happy and smiling, which is something that I don't see right now. I mean, we get on the video, but for the 2-3 minutes that we discuss during office hours, yeah, everybody seems happy, but I want them to really be happy. Will INF 2190 help towards the Azure Data Science Associate certification? I don't really know, and I don't want to answer without knowing, but let me take a quick look. It's definitely toward that. Yeah, definitely toward that. All 3 components, the learning paths, are included in here. Now, you are dealing with a project on Azure for half of your time, right? So I devote, let's say, half of the course in the theoretical component and the other half in Azure. So within like 5 weeks, you're not going to become an expert. You would, unless you work on Azure day and night. So, but it's definitely a good start that you can take further, and you can call the Azure API, you can use Python, you can use Java, you can use other tools that like more advanced storage systems, parallel programming, and so on and so forth that Azure has. Excuse me, but it's a perfect start. I believe it's 3 o'clock. So let me know if you have any last questions. Otherwise, I would like to thank you once again, and good luck with everything. Any last questions that you have? No problem. My pleasure to meet you all. I'm sorry we don't have the opportunity to meet in person, but on the other hand, I had the opportunity to talk with people from far away, and this situation made it easier for them. So thank you all for, if you stayed late, and thank you to Faria and Kelsey for moderating the session together with me. Okay, good luck, everybody.